So, I recently got some more books. I went to the library for a lot of them, and I got a couple of them over Amazon. And this has been obviously quite a while since I've done a book haul. I actually don't have as many as usual. I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. To start with, I got The Turnip Princess and Other Newly Discovered Fairy Tales, and these are apparently all from Bavaria. And I enjoy reading fairy tales, and I've also been thinking about, I have a lot of books of short stories and some books of fairy tales, and I'm thinking it'd be kind of nice to have a short story or fairy tale book that's there that I can just pick up, read a story from when I'm like in between books, or if I only have like a little bit of time. That way I can just read something. And I really liked this cover as well. It just drew me in for some reason. And I'm definitely interested to get into this. And it's not too long, as you can see. And it's got quite a bit of stories. So I'm imagining they're all going to be short. And then I got quite a few more books from the library. So one of the other ones I got was Prince of Song and Sea. And as you can see, this is a Little Mermaid book. And yes, it is Disney. And this is part of their new series, which is the Disney Princes series. So they have also out the Villains series, which is about the villains. It doesn't really follow the movie stories so much. And then we have the Twisted Tales, which are based on the movies, but a key element is changed. And then this series is inspired by the movies, but it's from the prince's point of view. So obviously this one is from Prince Eric's, and supposedly he has some sort of curse on him. So I'm definitely interested to see what that is, just because, in the original, he was just a prince. There was no curse or anything. So it's definitely interesting to see what this will bring. I also picked up Queen Bee, and this was supposed to be a retelling of Persuasion, I believe it was. And after reading Debating Darcy and really enjoying that, I decided to try this. I also do kind of like Regency romances every now and then, and that's what this is supposed to be. It's a YA Regency romance with a revenge plot, enemies to lovers. So it was something that I said, okay, that does sound pretty interesting. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And yeah, hopefully it'll turn out to be good. I also found the Sailor Moon Eternal editions. My library has 1 through 5. I am still waiting on 1 and 5. I was able to get 2 through 4. And I just have been interested in Sailor Moon. I love the character designs. Sailor Pluto is one of my favorites. But I've never read it. I've never actually watched it. I had read a few of the novels, and so I picked this up, and in thumbing through it, I found out that Sailor Venus, originally known as Sailor V, was actually the one who started this, and not Usagi Sailor Moon. So they also have the Eternal edition of Sailor V, so I have both of those on hold, and hopefully they will be here this week. And then I'm definitely excited to dive into this, and I do believe I'm going to have to find a different version to read to finish it off, just because they only have up to volume 5, and I believe the whole series is 10. So I have to see. I know they have another edition that looks like a 3-in-1, so I have to see if they have any more of that and if that would complete it. But this is something I'm definitely looking forward to reading, and I've always been interested in it, so I was super excited to see that they had this. And then Legend is a series I'd been seeing around for a while. And so when I saw the graphic novels were out, I was like, I'll go ahead and pick these up because, they're super short. I like graphic novels anyways. This is the perfect way to know if I would want to actually read the novels. And so I got all three of them: Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. So I'm definitely interested to get into these because I don't know a whole lot about the series. I do know that there's some sort of pandemic going on, some sort of disease, and that those who get the sickness and survive, they have powers. And that's about the extent of what I know about it. So I'm definitely interested to dive into this. So I forgot about two books. I have The Red Palace by June Her, and this is set just before the 1800s in Korea, and it follows a 17-year-old girl who has become a nurse in the palace, and there's some murders, and she winds up getting caught up in the search for the murderer because her mentor was blamed and she does not believe he did it. And so, yeah, it sounds very interesting, kind of a political intrigue / murder mystery. And then the other book I got was Mars 1. And this is a YA sci-fi, and I love sci-fi, especially near future sci-fi. And this is about a 14-year-old boy, I believe he's 14, and his family, before he was even born, was chose to be one of the first families that would go to Mars. So he's grown up knowing this, and if I remember correctly, yes, he is on the spaceship getting ready to go to Mars at 16. And some things happen, and he has to try to figure out what's going on. So it's kind of the same thing. It sounds like another sort of murder mystery, but instead of a historical twist, this one has a sci-fi twist. So I'm definitely interested to read both of these books, and I'm definitely going to have to do some thinking about what I'm going to pick up next. I also picked up Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. Reading the description of this, it is about a woman who is a photographer. She photographs average-looking men that she scouts in Newcastle, and she has a dead-end job. This is just her hobby, and then she quits her job, or takes a break from it, I don't remember which, and she is offered an exhibition, and when she's offered this exhibition, she just kind of goes off the deep end from what I hear, and it sounds really similar to Frankenstein and Cleopatra, which I did find interesting, so I decided to go ahead and pick this up, and hopefully it will give me those same vibes, and it does sound interesting either way. Then I picked up Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, and if you've been watching my recent videos, you've seen that I have started reading Oliver Twist, and I have read David Copperfield, which is what inspired this book, but this book is a modern day or semi-modern day, I believe it's maybe like in the 90s at the earliest, but it's set in Appalachia in America, and it deals with kind of like the same themes that David Copperfield did, with the pulling yourself out of poverty, being poor, and it has a lot of the social commentary that Charles Dickens likes to put into his books, and I just thought that this sounded very interesting, and especially with it being based off of a Charles Dickens book, I'm very interested to see what Barbara Kingsolver does with it, and I've heard very good things about her writing, and I do know that this won the Pulitzer Prize as well. So I'm really excited to get into it when I do, and hopefully it'll be relatively soon. Now, I finally picked up the second book in the Harley Quinn trilogy that is published by Random House, and this one is obviously Harley Quinn Ravenous, as you can see, and this picks up after the events of the first book. She is now in college, and she is dealing with kind of the aftermath of what happened in the first book, and deals with like the same type of themes and everything. And of course, loving Harley, I'm going to get the whole series. The final book, Harley Quinn Redemption, comes out next spring, so I might hold off and just read all three next spring, maybe late winter this year, and that way I can read them all closer together. But yeah, I'm definitely super excited to get into this book and really all the books that I've talked about. And I have so many books that I need to read, but I just can't stop getting new ones from the library. Although I have gotten better at buying books, I have a list of my ongoing series and I try to just buy from those. But I hope you enjoyed this little book haul. And as always, like the video, subscribe for more bookish content.